What's going on, guys? Back with another video, and this one is a little different because I haven't done one in a very long time, but this is actually a food or cooking video. So I'm on a journey, and my journey is a chicken nugget. Those brown, crispy, delicious little chicken nuggets that you get everywhere. But my journey is to make them healthy. And there's quite a few problems when it comes to making a healthy chicken nugget. So the first thing that came to mind was an air fryer. If I was to get an air fryer and just put some chicken in there and then it would make it all crispy and yummy, I did a little bit more research. One, air fryers are extremely expensive compared to what it actually is. And two, it's basically just a convection oven with a fan. So there's no use in me buying one of those. I still like the idea of what it does. So I went and I got one of these pizza pans just because it's a finer mesh, and then put it over something. So when I do make the chicken nuggets, I can put them across here so there's heat on both the top and the bottom that can come through, and it'll evenly be heated just like an air fryer. So I've got that covered because that's the way I want them to cook, because I don't want one side to be soggy and the other side to be crispy. So now that I have you don't have to do this. You can definitely, if you have more stuff in your kitchen compared to me, you probably have something better than this. So that's one step to take care of. Another step is breading. On the inside of the chicken nugget, it's delicious. It's chicken, depending on the place you go to. It's probably a lot of other crap in there. But the outside is the worst part because the breading is what makes it so unhealthy. The breading, either breadcrumbs, if you've got whatever in your cabinets, if you have breadcrumbs are very high in carbs because it's bread, it's high in carbs. And there's also alternatives that you can do. Panko, which is, I guess, breading for shrimp that they use in other countries, but that's just as high or higher in carbs. So that's not really a great alternative. And then I've also read that you can use things like pork rinds, which are very high in fat, and also they're usually flavored. So that's not really what I want to do with my chicken nuggets. And last but not least, another thing that came up often was almond flour or almond meal. Now those are completely interchangeable, they're the same thing, but the downside is, one, it is so expensive to get that stuff compared to like a normal flour, and two, it is very high in fat. There's no carbs, and if you're doing keto, you probably have some sort of almond substitute, almond flour, but it is very high. Just 2 tablespoons is like 8 grams of fat. So if you're doing a whole thing of chicken nuggets as a meal, or maybe even a snack, you can't have that much because that is so much fat for your diet. So what I'm gonna try to do is one way, just normal without any sort of breading, and another way, I'm going to spray on some olive oil, because olive oil is healthy. It is a healthy fat, and I just got this today, and this is the little sprayer thing, just like you would buy at the store, the little aerosol spray, but this one just uses air pressure, which is the coolest thing ever, and it makes it a lot easier when you're coating stuff with olive oil instead of like just caking it on with something. You can just spray it on. Super cool. And last but not least, the problem that I had making chicken nuggets last time was the chicken itself. When you cut the chicken and you bake the chicken, it becomes tough in a way. The consistency of a cooked chicken has basically a tough texture to it, but when you bite into a chicken nugget, it's very soft. Like you can just tear it apart. So to go around that, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use a meat grinder here in my KitchenAid, and I'm gonna toss it up in there, and it's gonna grind it up into a very fine meat paste thing. And I think by doing that, it's going to make it very, very soft, and it's going to break up all of those bonds of proteins or whatever makes it so tough, and it's going to be really soft. So, this is my journey. Hopefully it works. I've never done this before. I don't know why this is so satisfying. Okay, now I have my ground chicken. Time to season it. Now that I'm done seasoning it, I really didn't do a whole lot here, just some salt and pepper. You don't have to do anything special. I mean, it's totally up to you what seasoning you want to do for this. And next up, I am going to put it on my makeshift little tray here. But first, like I said, I'm going to spray it down. Man, if you want that, I'll link it below. These things are so cool. So I'm gonna grab that, and I'm gonna spray this down so nothing sticks to this pan. Now that I sprayed that down, set the oven to 300, so mine goes a little bit hotter. 300, 325 is what I'm gonna start at. Like I said, this is a journey, it's an experience, I don't know. So now we're gonna make our little smush here into little nuggets. Don't those just look beautiful? So I shaped them into somewhat nuggety size. I've got 5 on the top, which I'm just leaving completely regular, just pieces of chicken. The ones down here, these 5, these are the ones that I coated front and back with a little spray of olive oil. So I'm gonna set these in. I don't know exactly how long. I'll let you know how long it should take, but I'm gonna pop them in and I'm gonna check them frequently. And right now I have it's probably at like 325. Like I said, this little hot. Okay, so after 15 minutes at about 325, I took 2 out, cut them in half. They're cooked all the way through and they're very, very tender. So I got the consistency right by grinding the meat. The only problem is they're not brown and crispy on the outside, so looks like I'm going to have to up the temperature. Okay, so these are the ones that I took out. There's really no difference between these ones which I had oil on and these ones which were bare. I put them in for a little bit longer. They got a little brown, but they're basically the same. So round 2 with 2. This one is the one that has oil, this is the one that's bare. This time I'm gonna put it in for 425 degrees. I don't know how long. These ones, they didn't brown or anything, but they still cooked all the way through. They were in for 15 minutes at 325. So that's round 1. Now we go to round 2. So after 15 minutes, this is what we're getting. Still not super brown. So I'm gonna open these up and see what they look like on the inside. And again, just like the last ones, they are cooked all the way through. So basically they came out the exact same. I didn't want to leave them in for longer or else the inside becomes harder and harder. It becomes overcooked. So what I'm gonna try now is without the little mesh grate on top and have them cook directly on a hot surface and just flip them at about every 5 minutes maybe. So that's what I'm gonna do. Gonna make more. Again, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna have a regular one and then one with oil. Okay, so I just pulled these out. These are 425 on the actual baking sheet. This one I had some oil on, this one I didn't. This one still got decently brown. This one pretty much the same thing. But just with the chicken being so moist, like you can't really do a whole lot with oil to begin with because it just all comes off when all that water starts coming out. But it's been 10 minutes, they're cooked all the way through. Ow. There you go. So let's see how they are. So basically exactly the same as all of the other ones that I did. So doesn't matter how I'm cooking these, they all turn out exactly the same depending on if it's at 300 or if it's at 425, whether it's on the pan with oil, without oil, on the thing. So I got the texture right, so that's a start. And now I just need to figure out how to make them more crispy on the outside, but being that they're chicken and they have a lot of moisture in them, it's kind of hard to get that crispy outer. So I got everything that I wanted to except for the outer shell. So if you have a suggestion on how to make them more crispy, maybe it's temperature, maybe it's how I'm cooking them, what have you, please tell me down below what am I doing wrong, because I want crispy nuggets. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram so you can get some behind the scenes stuff that hasn't happened yet and unreleased content that no one else has seen. And if you haven't already, watch that video. And if you watched that video, watch that video. And if you've watched both of those videos already, make sure you subscribe down here. Yeah, watch this stuff. It's awesome. And if you've watched that, and subscribed,